Today I will briefly talk about 6 famous works of Van Gogh. 1. The Starry Night. Vincent van Gogh's The Starry Night is undoubtedly one of the most famous and recognizable paintings in the world. Completed in 1889, the painting is known for its vibrant colors and swirling, almost chaotic brushstrokes that evoke the feeling of movement and energy. The Starry Night depicts a small town nestled beneath a dramatic, swirling sky filled with stars, a crescent moon, and even a shooting star. The town itself is rendered in a darker, more subdued palette, which makes the bright sky even more striking by contrast. Van Gogh's use of color is particularly noteworthy in this painting, with the deep blues and bright yellows and whites creating a sense of depth and movement. Despite its fame and popularity, The Starry Night was not an instant success. Van Gogh painted it while he was a patient at the Saint-Paul-de-Mausole asylum in southern France, where he had committed himself after suffering a mental breakdown. He painted the piece from memory, as he was not allowed to leave the asylum grounds. It wasn't until after his death in 1890 that the painting gained recognition and became celebrated as one of his most important works. Today, The Starry Night is housed in the collection of the Museum of Modern Art in New York City, where it is viewed by millions of visitors each year. Its enduring popularity is a testament to Van Gogh's mastery of color and form, as well as his ability to capture the beauty and wonder of the natural world in his art. In conclusion, Van Gogh's The Starry Night is a stunning work of art that continues to captivate viewers more than a century after it was painted. Its bold use of color and swirling brushstrokes create a sense of movement and energy that is both mesmerizing and unforgettable. If you ever have the opportunity to see it in person, I highly recommend taking the time to experience its beauty for yourself. 2. Sunflower. Vincent van Gogh's Sunflower series is one of the most recognizable and beloved works of art in the world. These paintings feature large, bright yellow sunflowers arranged in a vase or vase-like container, and are known for their bold, expressive brushstrokes and vivid colors. Van Gogh painted several versions of the sunflowers, with each iteration featuring slightly different compositions and color schemes. The most famous of these is his painting from 1888, which is now housed in the National Gallery in London. This painting features a vase of 12 sunflowers set against a bright yellow background, with the blooms themselves rendered in rich, textured yellows and oranges. What makes the Sunflower series so beloved is not just the beauty of the flowers themselves, but also the way that Van Gogh imbued them with a sense of personality and emotion. The flowers seem to glow with an inner light, as if they are alive and bursting with energy. This sense of vitality is amplified by the bold brushstrokes and thick layers of paint, which create a sense of depth and movement that draws the viewer in. Interestingly, Van Gogh originally painted the sunflowers as a gift for his friend and fellow artist Paul Gauguin, who was coming to visit him in the south of France. Van Gogh hoped to create a welcoming and inspiring environment for Gauguin, and the sunflowers were part of his plan to decorate the yellow house where they would be staying. However, the two artists ended up having a falling out, and the paintings remained with Van Gogh after Gauguin left. Today, the sunflowers remain some of the most beloved and recognizable works of art in the world, and they continue to inspire artists and art lovers alike with their vibrant beauty and expressive power. If you ever have the opportunity to see one of Van Gogh's Sunflowers paintings in person, I highly recommend taking the time to experience their magic for yourself. 3. Bathroom. Van Gogh's Bathroom at Arles is a lesser-known painting in his oeuvre, but it is no less fascinating or important than some of his more famous works. Completed in 1888, the painting depicts the interior of his rented apartment in the town of Arles, France, where he lived for a time with fellow artist Paul Gauguin. The painting features a simple, functional bathroom, with a wash basin, a towel rack, and a simple wooden chair. The walls are painted a pale yellow, and the floor is covered in a patterned tile. What is most striking about the painting, however, is the way that Van Gogh transforms this humble domestic scene into a work of art. Van Gogh's use of color in the painting is particularly noteworthy, with bold shades of blue and green standing out against the soft yellow of the walls. The brushstrokes are thick and expressive, imbuing the scene with a sense of energy and movement. The painting is also notable for its composition, with the basin and the towel rack forming a diagonal line that draws the viewer's eye through the space. The bathroom at Arles was part of a series of paintings that Van Gogh created during his time in Arles, where he hoped to create a utopian community of artists. The series includes several other interior scenes, as well as landscapes and portraits. However, the bathroom at Arles is unique in its focus on a domestic space, and it offers a glimpse into Van Gogh's everyday life and surroundings. While the bathroom at Arles may not be as well known as some of Van Gogh's other works, it is still a testament to his mastery of color, form, and composition. It is a reminder that even the most humble and ordinary of spaces can be transformed into something beautiful and meaningful through the eyes of an artist. 4. Self-portraits. Vincent van Gogh's self-portraits are some of the most iconic and powerful works of art in history. Over the course of his career, he painted dozens of self-portraits, each one capturing a different aspect of his personality and emotional state. Among these, his self-portrait with bandaged ear is perhaps the most famous and haunting. Completed in 1889, the self-portrait with bandaged ear depicts Van Gogh with a bandage wrapped around his head, covering his left ear. The painting was created shortly after Van Gogh mutilated his own ear in a fit of madness, and it has been interpreted as a reflection of his fragile mental state at the time. Despite the apparent darkness of the painting, it is also a masterpiece of color, composition, and technique. Van Gogh's use of bold, expressive brushstrokes and vibrant use of blue, green, and yellow create a sense of energy and movement that is almost palpable. The way that he captures the texture of the bandage and the folds of his coat is remarkable, and the intensity of his gaze is both unsettling and captivating. What makes the self-portrait with bandaged ears so powerful is the way that it captures Van Gogh's complex and tortured personality. He was a man of intense passions and deep emotions, and this is reflected in the intensity of his self-portraits. By painting himself over and over again, he was able to explore his own identity and psyche, and to express his struggles and triumphs through his art. Today, the self-portrait with bandaged ear remains one of the most celebrated and studied works of art in the world. It is a testament to Van Gogh's genius as a painter, as well as his bravery and resilience in the face of adversity. Whether you are an art lover or simply someone who appreciates the power of the human spirit, this painting is sure to leave a lasting impression. 5. Ear-wrapped self-portrait. Van Gogh's self-portrait with his ear wrapped is a masterpiece of color, composition, and emotion. Completed in 1889, the painting depicts Van Gogh with a bandage wrapped around his head, covering his left ear. The painting was created shortly after Van Gogh mutilated his own ear in a fit of madness, and it is one of the most famous and haunting images in art history. Despite the apparent darkness of the painting, it is also a work of intense beauty and skill. Van Gogh's use of bold, expressive brushstrokes and vibrant use of blue, green, and yellow create a sense of energy and movement that is almost palpable. The way that he captures the texture of the bandage and the folds of his coat is remarkable, and the intensity of his gaze is both unsettling and captivating. What makes the self-portrait with his ear wrapped so powerful is the way that it captures Van Gogh's complex and tortured personality. He was a man of intense passions and deep emotions, and this is reflected in the intensity of his self-portraits. By painting himself over and over again, he was able to explore his own identity and psyche, and to express his struggles and triumphs through his art. The self-portrait with his ear wrapped is also a testament to Van Gogh's resilience and courage in the face of adversity. Despite the difficulties and hardships he faced, he continued to create art that was deeply personal and meaningful, and that continues to inspire and move people today. Overall, the self-portrait with his ear wrapped is a masterpiece that speaks to the power of art to capture the human spirit, even in its most complex and challenging forms. Whether you are an art lover or simply someone who appreciates the power of self-expression, this painting is sure to leave a lasting impression. Thank you for listening. Hope to see you again.